What's up, gang? Theo Chino, head professor of the Family Jiu-Jitsu Academy, with another episode of White Belt Encounters. Bum bum bum. This was, of course, another episode where this person wanted to be a white belt, but was too savage to sign up and take classes. He just kind of wanted to jump into a session with a blue belt who shall remain nameless due to certain possible legal situations that could arise after this. There was a guy, and he was a very nice kid, and he was very lazy. Didn't like martial arts. He actually said when he was a little kid one time, when he was forced to train in martial arts class, he said, "Why do we have to do all this? Why can't we just stay home and relax? And how many times are you going to get beat up in your life? Like 2 or 3? Is it worth all this sweating and trouble? It's not worth it." His older brother encouraged him to continue his martial arts training, including when his older brother and his best friend used to come over and encourage him to go downstairs and train with them rather than maybe some other unpleasant things that might happen to him if he sat there and was all lazy. He hated martial arts training. He turned out to be one of the strongest out of that crew, and he was the youngest. He latched on to good technique. He got bigger and stronger. But he always had that, hey, just leave me alone. I don't want anybody to bother me. I don't want to bother anybody attitude. And he went to a party. So he was like a good, solid blue belt at this time. And he was very well aware of what he needed to be able to do in case somebody got a little crazy. Well, he was at a party. And he was with a friend. And then this high school bully went up to him. And he had lots of issues. Older brothers traumatizing him, beating him up too. And he came up and he decided to start bullying this very pacifistic, leave me alone youngest brother, who also got bullied by his older brother. And he started punching him in front of this friend he brought to the party. And this blue belt guy was like, "Hey, what are you doing? I thought we were friends." He keeps punching him and saying words that I don't care to repeat here. And he's like, "Dude, will you stop punching me?" He's like, "What are you going to do about it?" He goes, "Well, if you punch me one more time, I'm going to make sure you don't punch me ever again with that arm." He goes, "Oh, yeah?" And he rushes him and tries to tackle him. So credit to Renzo Gracie for this one in the WCC, I think, World Combat Championships. Guy rushed in to double leg him. He kind of like jump guard and guillotine the guy, but this was so savage, he slammed the guy's head on the mat when they went down. Surprised he didn't get knocked out from that. So took a page out of Henzo's book, slammed his head on the ground. They were at a party in Warrenville on the grass, thank goodness. So he cracked his head really hard, and then he had the guillotine in deep because this guy was a civilian, a barbarian, a savage, didn't know about our thing, and didn't know how to even tuck his chin. He started trying to gouge this blue belt's eyes out. And the blue belt was trained for this because this is how we train. We train for people who don't know the rules and don't care what the rules are. We're just trying to attack you like a savage. So he's blocking the eye gouges, and he sinks the choke in deeper. It actually helped him invent a new guillotine, which became popularized much later on. And then the guy's gurgling, and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And here's a big mistake. There's a difference between sport jiu-jitsu and even the art of jiu-jitsu, and then really using it for self-defense. The guy was gurgling, and he's like, "Listen, I want to let you go. Are you going to stop?" And he kind of stopped, and he acted like he gave up, kind of like a tap out. But when you're fighting a savage who's not on the mats and who doesn't know about honor or respect or mutual care, what you need to do is go into cop mode after that. You need to tell him, "Now, here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to roll you over if he's on top. And then I'm going to put my hands on you, put all my weight on you, make sure you've calmed down. And then I will let you go when I think it's appropriate. You got it? If you don't get compliance, then you do what you got to do to control that person so they don't hurt you." This blue belt was such a good-hearted, kind-hearted guy who could just really do whatever he wanted to anybody. And he was that good. He let him up. the guy was on top of him. He started dropping bombs on him. And the guy actually broke his knuckles on this blue belt's forehead. The blue belt was so mad at the disrespect, the dishonorableness of it all, that he did the inverted arm lock, chave de braço from the bottom. And I have never hurt someone. I've seen people get hurt around me and hurt themselves. Thank goodness I've not had to make anybody pass out or do anything like that. So we asked, what did that feel like? And he said, it felt like a rope was unraveling between my legs. Ouch. So everybody in the party thought that this blue belt was getting his butt kicked. They tackled this guy off him. This guy's screaming. Nobody knows what's wrong because they just saw him on top just blasting away, which he didn't score any shots that would have hurt him. But there were bruises. Pictures were taken just in case. And then he's screaming and he's like, hey, you know, my arm. And he's like, bleep you and all this other stuff. And he's like, I want to fight you again. And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea if you... And then his friends were holding him back. He's like, you better hold him back or else he's not going to have a good arm anymore. And that was it. And then a few weeks later, he saw this guy. He had a real crew of like bad friends. These guys were just bad trouble. But we also had a bunch of students who were good guys, but really were looking for any opportunity to try out their skills on especially the unbelievers. And so got a phone call. Oh my gosh, this guy's here. I threw the red light on top of the car like Starsky and Hutch. Headed down. I think I paged all my boys. No, it was cell phone time back then. No mass text messages yet, so I had to call everybody one by one while we're rolling there. And en route, this blue belt says, hey, it's all cool. The guy saw me. He came up and apologized for being such a jerk. And he's sorry. And then the blue belt asked him, how's your elbow? And he's like, it hurts. It's so messed up. It's like, oh gosh. And he felt bad. He's like, can I buy you a beer? He's like, I think I should buy you one. I was a real jerk to you that night. I'm sorry. I was trying to make you look bad in front of your friend. By the way, his friend disappeared at the party. Never to be seen again. That's another episode of White Belt Encounters. I'm Theo Chino, head professor of the Family Jiu-Jitsu Academy. If you want to make jiu-jitsu self-defense, exercise, art, sport, maybe a way to earn a living someday, part of your life, call or text 630-205-2466. Ciao for now.